Hey everybody, this is Rafe, your intuitive holistic life coach. We all have habits that shape our workday, right? Some habits are really great and they make us more productive. Others can hold us back and get in the way of keeping us from reaching our full potential. The question I have is this: do you know which of your work habits are helping you grow and which are holding you back? So let's talk about 3 things that you could change today if you wanted to. And then I'm going to talk about some more complex habits, and one in particular that I have a lot of trouble with. Okay, let's get started with a few that you may have heard about already. Number 1, constant multitasking. This is one that makes us feel productive, but is it really? Studies have shown that multitasking can actually reduce our efficiency by up to 40%. I used to be a supreme multitasker, but since I finally admitted to myself that I'm actually not good at it, I can't do it anymore. The other thing that studies have shown is that constantly switching back and forth like that is actually bad for your brain. It's much better to just focus on one thing at a time rather than switching between tasks. And I understand that there is so much pressure on us and so much pressure for work to be done that sometimes it feels like we have to multitask. Otherwise, we won't get through our workday. However, maybe it's time to try not multitasking for a while and see what happens. Number 2, overloading your calendar. A jam-packed schedule might make you feel more productive, but it's also what keeps you from having time to think. If you're spending your entire day in meetings and not giving yourself time for working, there can be consequences. People who jam their calendars are more likely to suffer from stress and burnout. Also, it gives you a full sense of productivity. It might look good on paper, but what are you really getting done? I know it's hard to give up a jam-packed calendar. I've been there. But one solution is that you could just carve out a half hour a day to do some real work and see how that goes. And then, if that seems to be working for you, how about scheduling an hour a day, or maybe even an hour 3 times a week that no one can book with you? Number 3, reactive email. Oh my gosh, this is one that I'm certainly guilty of. That little signal that tells you that someone just sent you a message on email or a message on text, oh my gosh, it's so hard for me to avoid it. The problem is that it can really fragment your day and keep you from getting things done. In a similar way to multitasking, you're forcing your brain to switch from topic to topic as you check emails, messages, everything inbound. The solution here, and one that I use, is that I have times where I just focus on work and I turn on the do not disturb button on my phone and on my laptop to ensure that I'm not tempted to look at any inbound emails. Okay, so those are the 3 tips, but I wanted to talk to you about something even more interesting about habits. But before I get into that, I have a favor. Would you please hit the subscribe button right now? That will help me to know that you're interested in this content. As humans, we all tend to have habits. And what are habits? Well, if you think about it, habits are simply behaviors that get a response, and then if we like the response that we get, we keep repeating it. And so the behavior becomes a habit. I'm going to challenge your thinking a little bit here and ask you to consider a broader range of things that might be habits. For example, and this is one that sometimes I struggle with, what if taking ownership, is a habit? I use this really interesting online habit assessment that measures 19 different habits, and it's been unbelievably valuable for me to understand what my own habits are. For example, the assessment report that I have done reports that I have a high propensity to own and a low propensity to hand off. So let's talk about what that habit means. Propensity to own has to do with how likely I am to take full ownership of a task. My high score here, combined with my low propensity to hand off score, means quite frankly that I have trust issues in giving tasks to other people. especially when I know that I could do it better myself, or at least if I think I could do it better myself. Now, my husband has a more even propensity to own and propensity to hand off habit. That means that he is better at evaluating what he should keep and what he should give to other people to do. He just has a more even habit development. So, what are the consequences of having a high ownership score like mine for people in the workplace? Well, one thing I hear quite often is I would like to give it to somebody else to do, but by the time that I show them how to do it, I may as well have done it myself. Or I might hear, I can't possibly give it to that person. It's too complex, and they're just going to mess it up anyway. Then, for the other side of the argument, I hear people that work for these folks. What they have to say is, I sure wish my boss would trust me more, or I sure wish my boss would show me how I can help them. I can see how overwhelmed and busy they seem to be. Do either of these sound familiar to you? Maybe you're one of those people who thinks that you can do it all, or maybe you're one of those people who is frustrated because it seems like your boss does not trust you. Well, maybe that boss has a high ownership habit. It may be that their high propensity to own score is just like mine. So what's the solution here? Well, awareness is the first step. If you're aware of the habit, you can remind yourself that it's your go-to behavior, and just being aware of it can actually help. Then, when you find yourself wanting to do something yourself, you can ask yourself if it's really true that somebody else could not do the job as well as you can. I see this kind of thing with my coaching clients all the time, which is the very reason that I use this online habit assessment. The reason that I do this is the data is invaluable. It really helps me to understand what their dominant habits are, and it can be really valuable for you as well. If you would like to take this online assessment and see for yourself what your own habits are, I've provided a link to my website where you can read all about it. Or you can just take a look at the link on my website called Take the First Step on the menu bar. As always, if you're enjoying my content, please like, subscribe, and share. In the meantime, have a great day, and look out for more videos that I'll be posting about those pesky habits and how they show up in our lives.